And it seems we are ready to go with Resident Evil 4, played by JTB. Take it out, JTB.
Well, thank you for that. Hello, everybody, and good evening, good night, whatever time zone you're in. Hope you're all having a good one so far, enjoying Calithon. I'm JTB. Tonight, we will be playing some Resident Evil 4 new game professional mode. But before we do that, I'm assuming this is going to be special costume, right?
You are right. The special costumes won tonight.
All right. Well, okay. I would have made a different choice, but, I'll give the people what they want. We'll do the special costume, and we're going to have a good time. So I'll go ahead and count this down to 3, 2, 1, go.
Resident Evil 4.
Alright, so this is that game that everyone's played at some point in their life. Know all about it, how it changed Resident Evil, for good or for worse, depending on who you are. But this is a new game professional mode that we're going to be running this on. New game meaning, we're going to start with just the basic weapons. You don't got any special stuff, just the pistol, some ammo, and a first aid to save the president's daughter from, this country that Leon's not familiar with. More importantly, we're going to be playing on professional difficulty. So this game has a difficulty slider that adjusts depending on how well you're doing the game. You get hit by someone, difficulty is going to go down. You're doing really well, killing a lot of enemies, it's going to go up a lot. Professional just locks difficulty at the highest it can be, so we're going to have like super aggressive enemies. We're going to get hit harder, enemies are going to have more health. Whole lot of fun, essentially. Kind of an important note thing, I don't know if it's showing up on the stream, but I'm actually playing in 60 FPS, a mode that was added in the Steam Ultimate HD version that came out a few years back. The reason why that's important is if you've ever watched like a lot of old RE4 runs, there's a lot of out of bounds that you're able to do in 30 FPS, but in 60 FPS, we're not able to do all that. Alternatively, 60 FPS does have a lot of cool tricks involved with it that will be showing off some things that I'm sure a lot of people have not seen. I'm pretty excited to be able to do that here at Calithon for you guys. So on to the actual run. It's been we've already like a couple minutes in the run. I haven't explained anything that's going on. We're here at the first kind of gatekeeper of the run, the village fight, which you have to kill a certain amount of enemies to get past, which we just did. We did pick up an early grenade from one of those crows we shot. Picked up another grenade, and just throwing those two grenades at a specific point at a specific time in this fight, you're able to get this, the right amount of enemies to go ahead and just clear that fight out real fast and proceed on. There is a lot of stuff to talk about in this game that I can probably go like days on days just going through the entire game. This run in particular, really heavy on just AI manipulation and just obviously getting through each room as fast as you can. Little movement tricks, causes enemies to react in different ways, which obviously I can't probably go into too much detail on every single room, but I'll do my best to point out the more neat stuff that we'll be doing.
To answer your question, the event is actually streaming in 60 FPS, so everyone should be seeing exactly what you see.
So yeah, it looks even cooler in 60 FPS as well. So it's cool that you guys get to see that. So this game is divided up into multiple chapters, 5 chapters in total plus the final chapter. And the game goes across 3 different environments. First environment that you see right now is this village that we're in. Kind of a cool thing about the speedrun is that each environment presents like a different kind of challenge to the speedrun itself. The very first part of the game, the village that we're in, is very heavy on just RNG and execution. You don't have a lot of like backup items that you have later on in the run. So any kind of like small mistake, getting hit once, anything like that, usually causes you to have to reset a run in order to not lose a whole lot of time. Definitely, even though it is like the early on, it's one of the most reset parts of the game, just because given that these first 2 chapters are only about 20 minutes long in total, you want to get as good a time as you can when you're doing these runs. So like I said, a lot of stuff going on right now. We're in chapter 1-2. Got through that first chapter pretty fast. We had to collect a couple key items in here. We're just going to pretty much be ignoring these enemies. We're going to shoot this. We're going to knock that guy down so he doesn't grab us. We're going to grab the second item, head on down to the door, and go through there. Alright, let's go ahead and combine these. So menuing is a big part of this game too. We're going to have a lot of menuing with using key items. You go into the merchant, swapping out items, stuff like that. Here to talk about a little bit of AI manipulation. I'm going to slide into this door and kick it. Didn't work, but usually if you kick that door at a certain spot, that guy will always go ahead and point at you, so you're able to just run straight past him without him trying to grab you. Yeah, reload right here and jump. So like I said, a lot of stuff happening super fast. It's hard to kind of keep up with everything going on. So if Leon is currently in action, at that point he was jumping over those sandbags. He's currently invincible, cannot be damaged by anything at all going on in the environment. So that dynamite that exploded did absolutely nothing to him. Just jump over and just run on out. And now that I've been talking for like 6 minutes straight, if there's any donations, you go right at it.
Sounds good. There's nothing so far, but let me remind you that we have a list of prizes that you can win with any donation that you submit. The Drake and Josh on GBA is the easiest one to get, only $5 required. And if you donate more than $100 over the duration, you are eligible to get a Nintendo Switch with Zelda and Mario Odyssey.
Yeah, definitely donate at least $5 for that Drake and Josh. I mean, it may just be $5, but literally you'll just become legendary as the biggest memer of all time for playing that game. But yeah, going back to Resident Evil 4 again, now we're in chapter 1-3. These early chapters are super fast. Kind of supposed to be your tutorial to the game, but since we're kind of good at this game at this point, we're just going to rush through all of them as fast as we can. We have been picking up multiple treasures throughout the run, so we do utilize the merchant, that guy that everyone knows, to pick up some extra items that are going to be able to use to make the run a little bit easier. We're going to be using the merchant right here to pick up our first special item, get rid of these treasures.
What are you selling? What are you
This one
selling?
treasure there. Can't go too fast. Alright, so we sold our 3 treasures that we've already accumulated throughout the run. Got 30,000, which is the exact amount needed to buy a rocket launcher. So fun fact, rocket launchers in this game are pretty powerful. We use quite a lot of them throughout the run, as they do one-shot most bosses. You know, despite this being on professional difficulty, a lot of bosses do die pretty fast to these rocket launchers. So of course we're going to use them just as much as we can. You can also see me just randomly shooting just objects and trees, picking up random items that I'm not actually using. Resident Evil 4 New Game Pro has a pretty set item path as far as picking up items that we need much later in the run at the spots that they're most just convenient to pick up. So even though we have like all these grenades, flash grenades, incendiary grenades right now that we're not actually using, we'll be seeing them used in the later chapters. And just part of this is also just your inventory. You don't want to pick up just every single item that you come across. You want to pick up items in certain order, so that way you know exactly where they are in the inventory. You're not having to look around for them. Just make things a little bit more consistent. So our second boulder QTE that we're going to dodge. Pretty simple.
Someone followed your advice. Spike and Ike donated $5 and says, "Hi."
Hi, how are you?
I think they're getting hyped about the Drake and Josh GBA game. I am. I donated to get it.
So we are heading to the end of chapter 1. Like I said, very fast chapter, being one of the early chapters, but we are coming up on one of the next gatekeepers of the speed run. So I talked about earlier how the village segment is very heavy on RNG, and execution. This boss we have coming up is literally like the embodiment of it, as you'll see very shortly. Just gonna run up here. Looking like a pretty innocent lake. Nothing going on. We got some fish in the water. I'm sure there's lots of, you know, aquatic life going on.
Nice boat.
Oh, whoa! Lots of aquatic life. We got a big old fish here now. All right, so this is Del Lago of the lake. For those of you who don't know Spanish, this guy is the reason why Chapter 1 is reset so heavily. So this dude likes to just do whatever he wants. He has a bunch of different patterns he can take, which mainly when he dives. And there we go, right there. Just to really drive the point home, he's going to go ahead and dive under the water, meaning we can't hit him at all. This is known as the early dive. So pretty much when he dives is entirely random. We don't want him to dive because we can actually kill him before he gets to a part where he's forced to dive. If he does dive, you know, we're having to wait for him to charge at us. Throws off our positioning. Just makes you lose a lot of time early on in the run for really no reason at all, other than just, hey, I feel like going this direction. I'm gonna just deal with it. So he did miss one harpoon earlier, so he is gonna not die until I get this next hit, I believe. There we go. So really late kill on him. Unfortunately, he killed him pretty fast if he decides not to dive. But Del Lago showing up in full force today and showing us, you know, exactly why Chapter 1, most reset chapter in this game. And moving on, now that we're past Del Lago, we move on to Chapter 2, which we're still in the village. You can see there's a little bit of change in scenery. You might be able to tell. Leave that up to you guys. But we're going to do a bit of backtracking, a little bit easier chapter than Chapter 1, but still pretty difficult to get through. A lot of this game is really just about consistency. Obviously, you hear that for every speed run. You know, you want to be consistent in your stuff. More so for this because certain enemies react to you, depending on the timing of the room itself. So the more consistent you get, then the more likely you're not going to see like weird patterns that enemies can take and just hinder your run. So here's where the run will diverge a little bit from, if you've seen the 30 FPS runs from before, or just pretty much any of the console runs. Usually what we can do here is like an out of bounds where we jump down from this little ledge into this this fence right here, and it just pushes you out of bounds and allows you to run through it. 60 FPS doesn't work like that. I guess it just detects Leon's location a little bit faster and just says, hey, you're not supposed to be out of bounds. We're going to put you back in. So we're not able to do a lot of these out of bounds glitches in 60 FPS that we normally do in 30. Still all right because, like I said, 60, there's some other glitches that we can do that are pretty cool that are exclusive to 60 FPS. Loading times are a lot faster as well. Inventory is a lot faster. Shooting's a lot faster. Pretty much lots of like little tiny small time saves over the entirety of the run that would just make 60 FPS the superior version to 30. Now we're moving up to our second boss of the game. Kind of difficult dude, so gonna have to concentrate a bit. Hopefully this guy does not give me a hard time. All right, we got him. That was actually a lot easier than I expected it to be. So that's the kind of, like I said, the advantage of that rocket launcher there. One-shots a lot of enemies. Usually, there's a couple other quick strats for killing the Gigante, which was that boss right there, if you didn't see him. Using like 3 grenades, but rocket launcher for at least this category is the fastest one. Got some Drinker's Ease right here. We're just going to go ahead and dodge them. As long as you're not looking straight at them and you're moving at like a diagonal position to them, they can't do anything to you at all. So it makes them pretty harmless enemies throughout this run.
We have a $100 donation by Zethan, hopefully I'm pronouncing your name correctly, who says, "First time watching Calithon, love it. Good luck with the run."
Thanks. I'm glad you're liking it. Now you're about to like this run a whole lot less. So you can see now on the screen we have someone following us. This is Ashley. This is the president's daughter that, by the way, we're supposed to be saving throughout this run. So this game turns into a bit of an escort mission with Ashley following us. We have to change up our movement a bit. We can't let enemies attack her. We can't let her get picked up. Kind of makes, it's essentially a handicap to this game. In the speed run itself, we can do some pretty cool stuff with how we position her, yelling at her as well to alert enemies before they see us. But in general, it makes the game a little bit more difficult because we just have to pay extra attention to her to ensure, she's not taking damage, she's not getting grabbed. They just pretty much make the room a little bit more harder than it should be. So we're heading back, the same way that we came in chapter 1-3. Now that we have her with us, we can get to this other area on the farm that we passed earlier. And we're kind of show off, cool thing. Oh, please don't get hashed. Okay, or she gets hit. That's fine. She could take damage. I don't care. That guy could be a little bit tricky. Most of the time he won't hit Ashley. It's kind of a gamble that it's pretty good to take most of the time. But here's a cool little thing we can do with Ashley. So like I said, we can make... Oh, please get up here. Please get up here. All right. That was actually a little bit risky. So by yelling at Ashley, that alerts enemies to our position before they actually see us. So by yelling at her at that exact, well, I guess it was a little bit different position because I missed it, we can make that guy that was inside that little farm try to run at us and get stuck by that ladder, so we can just both get up it unhindered. It still worked out in the end. It was kind of close with him almost grabbing Ashley, but it looks a lot cooler when it's done correctly. Oh, okay, I'm gonna take a breath real quick.
Use this.
Now we are on to the cabin. This is the cabin fight. This is kind of another big part of trying to listen. Can I hear him? Okay, good. This is another big part of chapter 2. We've got to kill 40 enemies in order to progress through this section. This is a really optimized section. You see our friend over there, Luis, killing enemies as well. But all these grenades that we've been accumulating, throughout the run thus far, is where they're really going to come into play. Luis is also going to do a little bit of help killing a lot of enemies too, but we don't want him to be shooting enemies all the time because we want him to be able to get inside the cabin so we can throw these grenades. So we knifed him a couple times there. He's going to yell obviously yells at us a bit, and then he gives us some free ammo for knifing him too. Good guy. And then we're going to let him kill a bunch of enemies and go to the top of the stairs and just kind of wait it out, killing enemies as they come up with a shotgun. So, to kind of explain, what happened. So, we have 4 grenades coming into the cabin, or 3 grenades and another one picked up inside the cabin. But we throw grenades at certain parts to ensure we kill, a certain amount of enemies at the same time. We also use Luis, as you can hear him downstairs shooting a lot of enemies too, killing a lot of enemies due to having the Red 9, which is a pretty strong handgun. You can kill enemies like 3 or 4 shots. So our goal here is just pretty much let him kill as many enemies as he can, while we just protect ourselves and killing one that approaches us. We actually got that pretty fast, so I'm a bit surprised. Oh my gosh, what am I doing? Kind of goofed up there with my inventory.
Wait,
it's just supposed to equip the incendiary there, and then go on my way. But that was a cabin fight. That was actually a lot shorter than I expected. Usually you're like almost about to run out of shotgun ammo, but I still think I actually have a stack of it somewhere. Okay, now we're in chapter 2-3. We got a Gigante chasing us, but no worries. We can just go ahead and ignore him completely. We're just going to pretty much run through here as fast as we can. We can knife those chains 2 at a time if we do it at a specific spot, or pick up another incendiary for this upcoming fight. Actually got an extra one from the cabin from Luis, so I'll ignore one later on. But we're just gonna go ahead and leave him, you know, in this little tunnel for the rest of the game. Kind of contemplate his actions, see if maybe he wants to pursue a different career than just chasing the president's daughter, you know, down this dark and, you know, scary corridor.
I'm going to interrupt you for a second to say that we have passed the $13,000 donation mark right now on
Wow.
Friday the 13th. So thank you, everyone. We're only $2,000 away from how much money was raised last year.
Wait.
Good job, everyone. You guys make, you know, these marathons, you know, so much worth it. Thank you for donating. You know, definitely keep on doing so. It is much appreciated. So here we are on this little minecart ride, kind of a lull in the speed run. I guess you can call it an auto scroller. A pretty short one, though. We need to kill these enemies before they get too close to us. Otherwise, they start throwing their weapons at us. You know, it could be pretty cool and try to knife them out of the way, but Ashley's a little bit weak right now. Don't want her to get hit by accident, so I'll just shoot them out of the way. Sure, that's not gonna cause us to die at all. Alright, I am down to 8 ammo, which is perfect. I want to make sure that I use up all my handgun ammo, at least all the extra handgun ammo in my inventory, you know, for an upcoming inventory change. Also want to point out, I forgot to do it. So, despite this game being in HD, you know, you can play it, you know, up to like 1440p. A lot of these textures in this game are actually not even updated. So if you look at the rope, I didn't get a chance to show it, that we were on, it still looks like it's from like the GameCube days with like 360p texture. It's kind of jarring to look at when the rest of this game looks so good. I was so focused on getting rid of that handgun ammo, I just totally forgot about it.
Wait.
Alright, now we're coming up on the end boss of Chapter 2-3. The Big Cheese, as a lot of people like to call him. Well, just as he's called the Big Cheese, we're going to cheese him a bit too, using incendiary grenades. So this guy, if he was a Pokemon, I like to say he had a 4x weakness to fire-type Pokemon, because all it takes to kill this guy in 60 FPS is 4 incendiary grenades plus this barrel damage right here, making what was a pretty tense fight in a casual playthrough, you know, this big bullet sponge chasing you, to most likely the easiest part of this speed run in general. There's not much you can do to screw that up other than just, you know, throwing a grenade too early. So, kind of a hot tip for anyone looking to step up their game in Resident Evil 4, just bring those incendiary grenades to that fight, get out scot-free. One thing I haven't pointed out is this movement speed that Leon has. So Leon has a few different movement speeds depending on what he has equipped. The one that he's in right now, the unequipped state, as well as when he has a grenade equipped and a rocket launcher equipped, that's when he's running his fastest. It's not terribly important early on. The difference in movement between this and like using the pistol or the shotgun's not worth going into the inventory, but later on it's going to play quite a huge effect with one of the glitches that we're going to be doing probably about 30 minutes from here.
I mean, it makes perfect sense that you can run as fast with a grenade than a rocket launcher.
It
Everyone knows
does. It really does. You know, rocket launcher versus tiny little pistol. RA4 physics for you. So now we're coming up on the end of Chapter 2 and the village segment in general. All we have to do is shoot that guy once in the truck to get him to crash the truck, cause him to completely flip out, and run past it. Or pick up some money here. I'm gonna say goodbye to Ashley. You can stay here. You know, chill with your friends that are running after us currently. I think she'll actually get picked up. Oh no, what are we gonna do? Oh look, she's with us again. What a surprise. So some areas have,
Welcome.
rather than just going up to a door,
Got some. What are
actually I'll
you
talk
se-
about
is
it in
that
just a
all?
second. Let me go ahead and change up my inventory quite a bit right here.
Is that all? What are you
It's kind
buying?
of slow, unfortunately.
Come back.
Always takes a little bit of concentration to try to, go through that inventory since you're just, hitting a lot of buttons all at once. But some areas just have loading zones that you just need to cross, regardless of actually being there with you or not. You'll just automatically go into the next area without any worries. Nice, got him. And you can see we changed up our inventory quite a lot. We got rid of our handgun, we got rid of our shotgun, picked up the TMP and the semi-automatic rifle. This is the inventory that we're going to see for quite a lot of the game coming up. TMP, it's just a submachine gun.
Wait.
Really useful for just staggering enemies real fast, shoots really fast. Pretty much like I said, its main role is just to quickly stagger enemies and move on. Whereas the semi-automatic rifle is completely opposite. That is solely there just to kill enemies. Despite this being on the hardest difficulty, you get guaranteed headshots with that. So for areas that we just have to kill a lot of enemies super fast, we just pull out that rifle, put our MLG sniping skills to the test, and see the results.
Follow me.
So another cool interaction with Ashley, using that cannon there, despite if Ashley's being picked up or where she's at, she'll just automatically show up with us as all the enemies get despawned in that area. So, like I said, there's just so much to talk about in this game. Every single room has these small little things that just affect how the room goes. It's so hard to go over every tiny little detail. I'm trying my best to point out the most interesting ones, but
Follow me.
hopefully I'm not leaving you guys kind of behind in the dust. So we're going to use Ashley. She's going to be a perfect gentleman right here and just leave this door, hold this door open for us while we grab this key in here. Some areas we don't actually need Ashley with us, especially if we're going right back to her. And obviously it's a little bit safer to just leave her out of harm's way. Hopefully nobody goes after her. But in this area where we have all these guys chasing us, we're going to leave her back there. Oh, this is a bad... That's good. That guy pointed at me for some reason. I was half expecting him to charge me with the other two, so I could just run past all of them, but it didn't look like it was going to work there. But as long as I'm not taking damage, that's perfectly fine. So yeah, now we're in this castle. This composes chapters 3 and 4. This chapter is your RNG chapter. There's a couple enemies that are introduced later on that just want to mess up your run in any way possible, even more so than Delago. A lot of these rooms are really tense with just having to manipulate just AI movement to get past them, making it just kind of the more difficult chapters of the game. And we're going to see that in this next room after we complete this one. First off, we're going to show off this power of this semi-automatic rifle to kill our good friend the Wolverine, or the Galador right here. I'm going to go ahead and miss that completely. So I'm going to go ahead and reset that. I don't know how I missed that shot. Also wanted to change the resolution. I don't know why, but let's do this again. Hit him with 3 quick ones. Hit him with another 2 to go ahead and kill them. Not the fastest way to kill him right there. Kind of messed up my shots there. I think I got a little bit too close to him.
Follow me.
I also have to do this part a little bit slow, but pretty tense movement there. You can't really be slow at all at that, otherwise he'll just go ahead and turn around and just start smacking you. It'll be super fast. There's a couple other ways to do it that are a little bit easier, but that one is, I think, the coolest looking. And if you're not looking cool doing a speed run, then why are you even speed running? So like I said, we're showing off the power of this semi-automatic rifle. This is the water hall. This is, this is one of those rooms that when you're first learning the speed run, this is where just what holds you up quite a lot. This is an extremely difficult room because we're having to run through this little bottleneck that enemies can approach us, you know, with Ashley also.
Wait.
So this is where it just your movement needs to be completely precise. You can't be slow at all. This guy not supposed to be there, but you know, comes down to that whole RNG thing I was talking about. Ashley getting stuck. Ashley gonna get hit. Ashley not gonna get hit. Okay. This is kind of risky, but all right, we're good. That was kind of weird. Ashley got stuck on one of the enemies there. That's one really bad thing that can happen if Ashley gets close to an enemy without Leon being right next to her. She'll go ahead and just duck down until we either get back close to her or someone else gets in the way. Oh, this is gonna be really tense. Oh God, don't hit Ashley. Yep, you hit Ashley. All right, well, we're gonna do Waterhall again because Ashley got hit by a flying scythe there. Hopefully this time it goes a little bit better. But generally what you want to be doing in that part while actually using the crank, you just want to be protecting her from all these enemies that are approaching her. Unfortunately, all the enemies there were super slow with getting up to me, so none of them really got hit by that incendiary grenade. And when those scythe guys ran right down the stairs, if you're looking straight at them, you know, at a certain distance, they're going to go ahead and throw that scythe at you, resulting in what we just saw, unfortunately. Alright, so we're going to do this correctly this time. Alright, good. We got this guy outside the door, which is what we want. This is how we want it to do. We don't want to knock down any enemies with the exception of this one. Whoa, hello. Because we want them to all get up to me as soon as possible. So go ahead and fill this incendiary now. I think we got like 4 of them or so. Alright, we're good. Now we're going to show how we're going to do this correctly. With manipulating this AI to go to the left side of that crank there, we're going to go ahead and just pull a quick one on them and go to the other side and run past like 10 or so enemies right there. And go up to the second part of the Waterhall. So right there, that's the hardest part of the Waterhall. This next part's pretty easy. Kick it off with a reload checkpoints. We got that checkpoint right there, and that despawns all those enemies that are down there. Now we just got to deal with these new dudes out here.
Watch out for me.
Do you have donations?
I do, absolutely.
Go right ahead.
Edmund donated $20 and says, I'm a general, not some opera floozy.
Okay. That's cool.
Unjust Banana donated $2 and says, I'm a banana. I want to say that it's more than that. You're a talking banana.
Could have fooled me there.
And finally, Noobish Dude donated $5 and says, real policy dude high.
Hey Noobish, thanks for the $5. Yeah, so we had a discussion one day about what this RPD on the back of Leon's special costume stands for. You know, a lot of people played Resident Evil series, probably thinking that, you know, it stands for Raccoon City Police Department, which, you know, may make sense. You know, that's what he was in Resident Evil 2. But, you know, after a lot of, you know, theory crafting, you know, looking at the lore of the game, really came up with the thought that it actually stands for Real Police Dude, which he really is. He's a real police dude and a little bit more accurate for what he does. So, shout outs to the Real Police Dude costume. Rescuing the president's daughter. Thanks, Leon. We appreciate you.
I was wondering because the donation comment said policy. And I was like, that's bizarre.
Yeah, it may have been a little bit of a typo. By the way, this is the second part of Waterhall. We killed a bunch of enemies. Same enemies spawn every time. As long as we kill, you know, certain enemies every single time, Ashley is able to do these cranks without any worries. Makes it, like I said, a super simple part of this chapter. We're gonna run up here and across these little water platforms that she raised up for us. Thank you, Ashley, for that. Couldn't have swum across them. We're gonna wait for her to get up to us, and then we're gonna say goodbye to her for a little bit as she decides to get captured in this cutscene that we're gonna conveniently skip as well. Alright, so that concludes Chapter 3-1. We move on to 3-2. So I talked about how Castle has a lot of RNG with it. And you're going to see that in just a second. We got these new enemies that are going to be showing up. You should remember them if you played this game. Hey buddy, how you doing? So these are our good friends, the Novistadors. Giant insects that just want to ruin your run in any possible way. So there's 3 areas that these guys like to show up. This is actually the least threatening of the 3, but they just like to move very erratically. They like to jump on you when they feel like it. Sometimes they like to even go out of bounds and just spawn wherever they want. This particular area is a little bit difficult because they're chasing us and we gotta go back through this really tight corridor, which is why we picked up this flash grenade. To just kind of get them out of our way and make sure they're not gonna do anything to us. So this one is a little bit easier, but the future times that we see them, a little bit bigger pain in the butt. But a lot of runs have died to these guys. Kind of nice just picking up that extra flash grenade at the start of this room, just to make sure that they're not going to cause us any trouble. Also flying gold, or swinging guillotines. Not going to, Leon's not fazed by that, he's going to run straight past him. These guys, we're going to go and ignore them. They drop a whole bunch of treasure if you end up killing them before they go through that little door. But we have a pretty set treasure path laid out throughout this run that doesn't require killing any of them. So this is the red Cellar Room. This is another thing that's a little bit different than 30 FPS. Usually in 30 FPS you can use an incendiary grenade to get this red zealot that we have to kill stuck in this burning animation and be able to just quickly snipe them. Doesn't work in 60, so we just gotta do this the normal way. We're gonna do that by giving them 3 quick ones to the head. Nice. We're gonna switch this Team P. So Team P, like I said, super nice for just staggering enemies and just getting off these quick shots. Shooting that barrel right there just gets them all out of the way, so we're not gonna worry about them when we come back. Wow, that guy jumped down. That's not fun. Shoot this guy. 1 HP for some reason. And then get on to the hardest puzzle in the game. So, I had to pull up a game facts, for this, whenever I do this speed run, because it's just really difficult to remember that the solution to that puzzle is just 1, 2, 3, 4. So, shout out to the good people at Game Facts, really helping us out with these speed runs. Oh wow, this guy did not run at me.
So we have a donation of $10 by Real Police Dude. And he says, thank you for the shout out. Leon really worked hard fighting for righteousness.
I would not describe it as anything else.
And is it Noobis Dude or Noobish?
Noobish.
Noobish. So Noobish Dude donated an additional $2 and says, thanks autocorrect or my inability to spell. Here's another donation for that. Lol, have fun.
Thanks, Noobish. So right now we're running through chapter 3-2. Kind of got through the hardest parts of it, namely the Novistador part as well as the Red Zealot. That other room I went through the rockets, pretty standard. The only kind of weird thing that happened there was the scythe guy at the door, which I had to shoot quickly out of the way. If you take damage there, there's a good chance that they'll still go ahead and shoot those rockets at you no matter what's going on. So there's a good chance you can just get hit by a scythe, get hit by a rocket right after, and then suddenly you're just dead. This game is a lot about being able to quickly react to what is going on because, like I said, we can manipulate AI behavior to a certain degree, but ultimately there's going to be some things that are completely out of our control. So this is a speed run that, being able to run it over and over obviously gives you that consistency execution, but also lets you see kind of everything that can possibly happen in a room. So that way you're never really caught off guard, and you can just, you know, react to it without, you know, losing time or, you know, even worse, dying. This is really actually a really difficult speed run. When you get to like the finer points of this game with your movement and just making enemies react certain ways to you. Definitely, you know, if you're interested at all in this in learning this game, we have a pretty vibrant community with a lot of resources too. So, you know, definitely recommend, you know, check out, you know, our section on speedrun.com. We got like a Discord too with people always helping out. Guys are cool. By the way, we got to chapter 3-3, which is the shortest chapter in the game. Just a few rooms long. I'm gonna grab this treasure. Stuck in here with a dollar door. We don't really want to fight him, so he should have got hit by the door there, but he decided to just go ahead and ignore this metal grate being pushed through his body. Cool little thing with the TMP there, like I said, quickly staggering enemies. If there's an enemy that's running, doesn't matter which direction they're going, as long as you shoot them in the knee, they're going to fall over right away. And what's going to happen with this guy? Are they going to let us through? Alright, cool. Sometimes those guys will just run through the door, and you have to shoot that little lamp that's right there. But they're kind enough to wait on the other side of the door, so we could just go ahead and just kick the door and go right through them. So now we gotta rescue Ashley, unfortunately. I mean, I would prefer just kind of leave her alone, so that way she's not bothering us. But do have to actually complete the game with her. So we're gonna have to shoot those chains off, shoot these guys down there. We're gonna go ahead and we're gonna try to kill all these enemies at once by throwing this grenade. First we're gonna shoot one of these red zealots that comes through that has a little bit more health. Once in the leg, knock him over. We're gonna throw this grenade. Kobe. Alright, I think we got all of them. Kind of have to delay it a little bit to make sure they all get in the right position. Doesn't sound like anyone's trying to catch her, so.
I got the key.
Alright, we're cool.
I can get out.
Fun fact, shouting Kobe before every grenade throw makes it automatically gonna work. Hot speedrun tip for you guys. So now we're controlling Ashley through a pretty short segment. We just have to pretty much pick up a few key items while eluding some enemies. Open this door to a certain point. You don't have to open these all the way, just enough that Ashley can fit through. And this guy doesn't grab us. Okay, good. I keep running on through. So this part's actually pretty simple. Recently I've been doing this playthrough of the game of this difficulty mod called Life in Hell, made by this one modder. Pretty much makes the game extremely difficult, throws in a lot of enemies in places they shouldn't be. Like this specific chapter, there's like super Salvadors everywhere, which are from the mercenaries mode. You have to kill them with Ashley herself, which didn't really make sense too much to me at the start. So going through this, you know, normally through the speedrun is kind of like, wow, this is actually super easy compared to like the two to 3 hours I was spending on each individual room in order to get through it. Like I said, we're gonna get those 2 key items to get out of here. We're gonna run past these suits of armors called the armaduras. Pretty much suits of armors with plagas inside of them, which are controlling them. But you know, as soon as they miss an attack, apparently they just completely disintegrate. Like I said, Resident Evil physics, kind of wonky. I just take it as it comes.
So at what speed do you run with a flashlight?
That's actually a good question. There's no other, like, I think she runs the same exact speed. You know, whether or not she has the flashlight in there. I don't think anyone's actually tested that. That's a good question. Alright, so all you RE4 theory crafters out there, Next job is to find out if there's a difference in movement speed between the flashlight and being unequipped. Granted, it doesn't make a difference because you can't do anything about what she has equipped, but it'd be still cool to know for the next time I run this game at an event. So we're wrapping up this chapter right here. This is actually the end of chapter 3. Moving on to chapter 4, which is pretty much the longest chapter in the game, ranking in about like 10 minutes long or so in the speed run. There's a whole lot of areas that we're going to be going through, a whole lot of cool stuff we're going to be doing, a whole lot of randomness that's going to try to kill my run. So you guys better brace yourselves. First off, we're going to go ahead and enter this room. I'll let this room just speak for itself. Like I said, RE4 physics, how you can have a volcano in the middle of a castle just kind of beats me. But, the denizens of the castle did make it happen somehow. Pretty easy room in general. We just have to go ahead and shoot that one guy. I'm going to shoot these 2 chains right here. Fun fact, a lot of people think you gotta destroy that statue. All you have to do is either shoot the guy piloting the statue or just shoot those chains. One of those chains at the top to get it to drop down. Run right past this guy. We're actually gonna go ahead and reload the TMP while we wait for this. We're gonna need that coming up.
Gonna take this occasion to read 2 more donations.
Yeah, go right ahead.
One by Zor for $10, who says, "I like turtles."
Hi, Charles.
And New Death X donated $2 and asks you, I think, did you go to Zora
Hi,
yet?
Charles. Unfortunately, I did not go to Zora. Granted that this is Resident Evil 4 and not, Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past randomizer, there's not much that's gained from going to Zora in this game. So, unfortunately, we will not be seeing them.
How are you going to get the flippers then?
It's true. I mean, it may not even be flippers. It's randomizer, Most of the time I go to Zora and Rando, I just get scammed with a single rupee.
He gives a lot of love, I have to say.
He really does. Love that isn't necessarily wanted if you're looking for that progression, but that's we can talk about that during the Key Sanity run tomorrow. But back to the Resident Evil 4. Kind of got through going through these early parts, which are the easiest parts of this chapter. We got those 3. What am I doing? I forgot how to do these puzzles for some reason. We got those 3 ornaments that we used on that statue that we actually passed in chapter 3-1. We've been looking for a way to get past that wall, either just to go out of bounds or something, because if we were able to get past that wall without having all 3 key items, you can easily skip like 15 minutes or so of this run. You probably push it down to below 1 hour for like the New Game Plus category. But unfortunately, after like years of practice and working with it, I've not been able to find out a way to do so. Also, those dudes, they just like to kind of chill in this like closed off section until one person just happens to walk by. So unfortunately, they had their shot at glory, tried to trap Ashley there, but they both have 1 health each. We just take him out with 1 hit and move on. So here's where the chapter really begins to pick up as far as your execution and seeing if you're ready to actually speed run this game. So you remember the armored duelers that we saw earlier. Now we're actually going to take on 2 waves of them, also using this semi-automatic rifle to kind of make quick work of them. This is a room that you have to be very quick on because you can easily get swarmed by those guys if you're not getting these quick headshots like we did right there. Gonna use these flash grenades. Fun fact, if you use a flash grenade on any exposed Plagas, then let's actually get rid of some of this. Then it automatically kills them. Fun little game mechanic a lot of people aren't aware of. And then second range, do the same thing with these guys. One shot to knock off their helmets. Make sure that guy's helmet comes off. Sometimes it doesn't. There's a flash. Take their lunch money. And we're gonna head out. So I made that room probably look a lot easier than it really is. But like I said, just you have to hit those headshots like immediately. You miss one headshot, then you have all three of them right on you, already hitting you. You have to run around the room, hope they don't run at you. Just a lot of bad stuff can happen. So obviously consistency there really paying off.
Follow me.
We're gonna go to the right side of that room right there and then pull a quick one on them, go to the left. Some next level tactics on them. They're playing checkers, we're playing 4D chess.
Wait.
I'll put those 2 grails we got in, then we're gonna lose Ashley again. But on the same hand, we also get to encounter our good friends, the Novistadors. So these are the actual hard Novistadors. There's actually one right in front of my face. What the heck? Coming at me in IRL, I'll try to ruin my run. So, we'll use these. Man, these guys. Alright, so you can tell that they can fly now, which is not fun. The reason why this isn't fun is because when they fly, they just pretty much like to ignore anything going on in the game. They like to go out of bounds, they like to just show up. Even their movement can be really wonky, and they can just pretty much sprint at you. And when they're in the air, there's not really anything you can do to them. You just have to hope that they don't charge you, because even throwing like a flash grenade at them has not much of effect, just pushes them back a little bit. Fortunately, there wasn't too bad. We got hit by one of them. Should have equipped this. I got hit by one of them, but I had plenty of heals to make sure that I wasn't, going to be in the danger status. But many a run can die to them. Just constantly being comboed by them. If they combo you, you can't usually even get into your menu. That's just how fast they're doing damage to you. So it can really just cause a death to happen in a room that you don't really have much control over. Got any donations?
Sure, there's none for now. I've been reading them like a hero, it seems. However, we did add 2 new incentives for games that will be played later. One of them is play soccer in Hyperlight Drifter. You absolutely want to see that. It's actually quite hard to execute and very fun to watch.
You really want to see that.
And the other one is all dungeons in Link to the Past randomizer, I believe, which is going to be also a challenge. So if you want to see that happening, keep the donations coming in.
Really, all dungeons. Although I guess, randomizer can force you to do all the dungeons anyways, but definitely do it. Get that blind pedestal pull, hopefully. It's a pretty cool thing to see. So, so I got hit by one of those archers there. It's very common that can happen. For whatever reason, 60 FPS, they just they just home in on you. So it's really hard to dodge them jumping down the ladders. That's why we usually stock up on a lot of heals in this chapter to just ensure these things that we can't really control don't cause us to lose any time. Cool little way to abuse that move. Just getting the enemies to attack you and then running straight past them. Also, we got those 2 Galadors right there. For whatever reason, the one on the right has a little bit more health than the one on the left. So shooting a grenade kills the one on the left, and then all it takes is just that one rifle shot to finish off the one on the right. Sorry, excuse me.
Someone asks in chat how many years you had to run this game in order to do such a ridiculous playthrough.
What are you selling?
I've been playing this probably about 5 years, I think. I think I started about 2013. Now that I'm thinking about that, I'm like not even thinking about the run itself. Yeah, I've been playing this for quite a long time. When I first started, there was only a few runners, not a lot of resources like there are now. Definitely, it's a lot easier to learn this game nowadays, if you are interested. Definitely would recommend it. It's really cool, and didn't really get a chance to talk about what was going on right there. So, could notice, Leon's moving a little bit faster now. So we hit up that merchant who gave us access to the striker shotgun, which is the most important item in any speed run of this game. It allows us to do this glitch called the dipping glitch, which is essentially this movement speed that we have going on right now. What it is, you know, by equipping the striker, there's this brief delay when you aim with it before you can actually shoot. He like slowly raises it up, and then you can start aiming and shooting at enemies. If for whatever reason you decide to switch weapons, well, don't discard that. If you switch weapons before he fully raises it up, it causes Leon to move super fast. And it really is the reason why this run is pretty quick. Being able to, especially for like the later chapters where, you know, it's hard to run past a lot of enemies. Alright, we got the Verdugo here. This guy is a pretty scary fight. I'm gonna wait for him to run at us, but like I said, we like to use rocket launchers. So we're gonna use this canister to freeze him solid and then go ahead and shatter him with the rocket launcher. Pretty fortunate that, oh, it's like this bug right in front of me, dude. Seriously, these no Vistadors. They, you know, they want to kill your run in game. They want to kill your run IRL. Did you get him?
I got it. I got it. It's dead.
God. Oh, I thought I saw another one. I got a little afraid. They're swarming me. Told you they just show up out of bounds and everything. But yeah, that's this is the end of chapter 4-1. Pretty lengthy chapter. The rest of the game gets a little bit faster with that dipping glitch, as I told you. I'm actually gonna start doing a little bit of saves. Reason for that, I didn't get a chance to fully make all these practice saves, so I don't want there to be any crashes by accident, and just end up ruining the run. So spare me while I do that.
Got some. What are you buying?
So I'm buying another rocket launcher, and actually we're not going to use it for probably what you're thinking, if you are familiar with this game. This is chapter 4-2. There's another boss fight that does come up, but you know, we're actually going to use this rocket launcher to knock out this boulder right here, so we just run straight past it. Got him. Pick up this grenade right here. I think I'm a little bit low on money too. So if you're familiar with this room, we got these double gigantes that show up that you have to fight at the same time. We use a kind of a mechanic of the room to kill them. But, you know, if you're speed running, you know, ain't nobody got time for that. We're gonna show off just how good this dipman glitch is. So in addition to Leon moving fast, he also completes a lot of these QTEs a lot faster than the game intends. So by using that pulley twice, Leon just decides to pretty much ignore it completely, go straight out of bounds, letting us just run all the way over to the exit, ignoring that fight completely. So pretty nice application of the dipman glitch other than just moving fast. We'll use it a couple more times, actually one coming up really fast in the next chapter. But you know, there's a lot that can be attributed to the speed run just solely to this glitch itself. And you know, part of the reason why people do speed run this game is because of this oh man, what am I doing? Of this glitch itself. But yeah, we got more Novistadors. You know, they're kind of mad that, you know, our host did take out one of their brethren. So these are the trickiest ones to deal with, because they like to spawn. These are the ones that just really do like to spawn out of bounds. And we also have to run through these two little bottlenecks that they can, that they're constantly chasing us to. So it's imperative to just go like really fast through this, otherwise, ooh, that's gonna happen. I got heals though. Okay, we're good. I think we're okay. Good. Oh no. Come on, real police dude. Oh my goodness. Holy dude. This is Resident Evil 4 speedrunning at its finest. Okay, I think we're okay. I picked up so many heals that we did not die by some miraculous reason. So yeah, like I said, going through that room as fast as you can not just there just to get through the room as fast as you can. It's also there to avoid all those doors. If you do that room perfectly, you can generally just, after that first flash grenade even, you can get through without any Novisadors trying to charge you, but I was a little bit slow on one of the hits there, causing them to kind of swarm me at that end of that cave I was about to exit. But I was able to brute force my way through. Fortunately, I did not get comboed by them, and I had enough heals to keep myself healthy. But in a lot of attempts, that would have been a dead run right there, so it got kind of fortunate that we didn't have to reset that room.
Un forastero!
So now we're in chapter 4-3, second and last chapter for the castle segment. You guys are about to have your minds blown. Just warning you right now, if you have a seatbelt on your chair or whatever, you might want to buckle in because you are not ready for what you're going to see next.
Wait, you mean it can get better than that?
It can get better. It can get a lot better, and you're going to see exactly why. So we're going to throw that grenade first. This is actually going to be in the next minute, so you guys have a minute to prepare yourselves. We're going to throw that grenade there to destroy this door, so we can just run through without having to interrupt our Ditman. So the Ditman glitch can be interrupted in a few different ways, primarily doing actions, taking damage, just things like that. Go ahead and shoot these down real fast. So a lot of this, going fast is being able to maintain your Ditman as much as you can without having to go back into the inventory to like have to activate it again. All right. So we got our favorite part of the run, the Minecart Run. Pretty lengthy auto-scroller, but you know what? Really don't want to do that, so we're just going to go ahead and just go straight out of bounds and run all the way to the end. And we're not even going to activate the minecart. We're just going to go straight over to the end part of the minecart and just run all the way through.
Working as intended.
Working as intended. So that is called the Minecart Skip, and that's actually a relatively new skip as far as just how long these other glitches have come out. I think it just got found early last year. So what it does is by running up to that top right of that minecart right there and jumping down while holding up left, it causes you to just go out of bounds if you have the Team P equipped with the Ditman activated on it. In fact, not even a speedrunner found it. It was just like one of the people just watching one of the speedrunners, like, hey, just randomly found that, showed us. We had some pretty insane reactions to it when we actually got it for the first time, because it saves like a minute and a half of having to go through this auto-scroller. And that's not even the end of it. So this glitch, the way I did it, is actually specific to 60 FPS. You cannot do that method on any other version other than just 60 FPS Steam. So, for the longest time, all the people running the console version, or 30 FPS, kind of, had to just keep going through it like normal until someone found another method to go out of bounds on every single version, from the GameCube version to the PS2 to all the way up to like the Xbox 360, which you go on the minecart, you activate it, and then at a specific part near the start, you actually jump to the next minecart. You don't even have to have like Ditman or anything activated, and it just forces you to go out of bounds for whatever reason. So, pretty amazing skip for a game that's been out. I don't know how long at this point. I lose track of it, and it just kind of shows just how much we still don't know about this game. Finding these new glitches every once in a while. So hope you all enjoyed the minecart skip. If you do have any donations, definitely welcome to do so right now.
Absolutely. Sleep donated $1 and says 8 equals D / Sherry. Unsure about the meaning of that message.
Well, this is a family-friendly stream, so we will actually avoid discussing that, but don't worry, your comment has not gone unnoticed. So I got hit there, unfortunately, before I was able to jump to that second hand to go across. Just kind of react to it real quick by shooting guys behind me to make sure I didn't get hit. Like I said, you know, we do take a lot more damage in pro. Usually 2 hits guarantees that you're dead. So I just threw down one of the heals right there to make sure that was not going to happen. And yeah, giant Salazar statue. Guys, you know, come up with your own conclusions on why that's in the game, because I frankly have no idea. So coming up on the end of the castle segment, chapter 4-4, we gotta ascend this tower, which is actually a little bit tricky once we get to this elevator coming up. Run over here and dodge this dynamite dude. And push these barrels off. Activate this lift. Hit these. Take some money. So it's just randomly right there. Shoot down these archers so they don't bother us. Then we're going to position ourselves kind of in the middle here to be able to shoot these guys that are going to be jumping on the elevator as they come down. So if there's ever more than 2 enemies on the elevator, it just stops completely until you either kill them or they're off. So doing this segment is like this is imperative. Otherwise, you can lose like 45 seconds to a minute on this, just having to, you know, deal with enemies jumping down. Bad luck right there, but I think it should be okay. We do have one enemy on here. Sometimes I like to shake up the pattern that they can jump on down, but fortunately with just one down right here, that's perfectly fine. We can usually get that one guy that just gets out of position. So we're just gonna dodge him and get rid of his life out on that elevator. Also, probably looking to pursue a different career. See you, dude. So kind of a, you know, tricky, like I said, tricky segment to go through. Kind of a cool way to like just show how execution, you know, works in this game, and just like kind of these like out of the box solutions.
Welcome.
You know, for getting through these areas pretty fast.
What are you selling?
I'm selling this crown. We're gonna buy a rocket launcher again. Guess you guys can kind of guess what that's for coming up.
Come back anytime.
Buy that. I'm actually gonna go ahead and pick up this first aid spray. Since it's a marathon run, what am I doing? I'm gonna play as slow as it's safe. That was Salazar, right? I like to mix up the 2 main antagonists of this game. This is Salazar. This is a fight that we're just gonna go ahead and throw the rocket launcher immediately. Another important difference between 30 and 60 FPS. 30 FPS, you can actually do this weird, not really out of bounds. You can jump down at a certain spot, which causes you to just float on the air and just run straight through the boss and not even have to worry about killing them. But can't do that on 60 FPS, unfortunately, so just gotta cheese him with the rocket launcher like we always do. That's coming up on the end of the castle segment, like I said. I'll quickly buy a rocket launcher here, but if there are any other donations, definitely have a bit of a lull in what's going on.
We do have one donation by Sikinar for $10 who says, "Best of luck, JTV. I hope we get to see Ditman glitch on the jet ski."
Oh, you can bet we're gonna see that, Siki, just for you. Where is he? Just for you. Yeah, we always save the best glitch, you know, to the end of the game. So
be prepared for a wonderful little surprise, everyone.
Yeah, if you're thinking about, you know, leaving the stream or for whatever reason, you obviously should not do that, because your lives will change by this glitch. Like, I can't even remember how I was before I saw that glitch. Like, my whole life just suddenly changed once I saw what happened by using the Ditman with the jet ski at the very end, so get ready for it. We still have a little while though before we gotta actually beat the game first, which we have like half hour or so left. So this is the island that you see we're in. This is when Resident Evil really just goes off the rails and just says survival horror. Nah, we're going right into military zombies. with miniguns, crossbows, all that good stuff. This chapter, you know, like I said, every environment kind of has its own little thing, you know, for the speedrun. This is your execution chapter. Not a lot of luck involved with it. This is just, you know, are you prepared to go through this chapter with consistency? And if you are, you're going to have a good time. There is one exception to that at the very end of the game, which you'll probably see, just like we saw with the Novistadors. But as far as these early chapters go, pretty simple. Gonna be doing the same thing over and over. I mean, it's pretty typical of every speed run, but we're just looking to go fast. Not a lot of luck involved. So a lot of these enemies we can just run straight past. We don't have to actually like pick up any key items. Just really just quickly game past enemies. And you know, having the Ditman glitch activated, you know, really helps in this regard because the game doesn't expect you to run this fast. So you know, they have enemies come out of the hiding, get ready to, you know, kind of ambush you, but because you're running so fast, you don't have that much time to prepare and just make it easier. So shout outs to Oven Dude. Best jump scare, you know, of the 2000s. Oven Dude just bursting out, trying to grab you. So we're gonna have a cool little skip right here, the shutter skip. Normally you have to kill 2 waves of enemies here to get past them. Alright, let's go ahead and explain that again. So we got a cool little skip here called the shutter skip. Normally to get past this shutter, you have to kill 2 waves of enemies in order to get past them. But if you go ahead and run to a certain spot there, with the Ditman's glitch activated, and you run while they're throwing that dynamite through, you can just run straight through. Like you saw, it's a little bit precise. 30 FPS is a little bit simpler to get on, but 60 FPS is unforgivable. And if you're just a little bit slow and getting, you know, turning around there to run through, then you're generally going to miss it. Not terribly, like, you know, impressive glitch just visually, but still it's one that saves a little bit of time of having to kill a bunch of enemies that we don't even need to. Also, we have regenerators. Hope you're all enjoying your Friday the 13th because these dudes are spooky as heck. Those of you who played this game casually, these are probably the enemies that you remember the most. These slow-moving bullet sponges that just breathe throughout this area and just do not die and regenerate their limbs. Speedrun though, they're a complete joke. They're slow, don't have to kill them. They have a lot of lag after they do their attacks, so we just go ahead and ignore them and go on, you know, through the rest of this run. So we're gonna wait here for this bow guy to show up there so he doesn't hit us while we run past him. It's kind of nice actually. Kind of a hard room to get through. If you're not fast there, it's a good chance that that guy with the flail will hit you as you're running past him. So it get a little bit scary getting hit by him and get taken down really low HP, especially if you don't have anything to heal with, which fortunately we do in this run. So Ditman glitch, showing that off. Able to get past these enemies a little fast. Walk along like I should have. Pretty hard to do commentary this game and also run it at the same time. There's so many little things to keep track of, just like correctly switching to the correct weapon instead of having to go back in the menu. Still should be good on estimate though. I kind of factored in having to do commentary myself. But alright, we got that Iron Maiden there. That was like a tougher version of the regenerators. The only one we actually have to kill, so we save the rocket launcher for him. Splash grenade and pick up another one. That way these guys don't have to worry about hitting us with their homing arrows or whatnot. We're gonna use this key right here. We're gonna get Ashley back with us. Hey Ashley, how you doing? Use another flash grenade. Unfortunately, shield guys do not get affected by these flash grenades, so we kind of have to kick him out of the way. See, he actually got stuck there. Sometimes if the enemies are on the ground, they'll just go ahead and cause Ashley to just not be able to move, which happened right there. So we just got to be able to move next to her so that way she does come with us. I'm going to leave Ashley there. Kind of sick of more rescuing her constantly. But wait, now she's back with us. So this is another one of those rooms where you just have to cross a certain line in the room in order to get to the next one. So it doesn't matter what Ashley's doing at the time. She'll always show up with us. Push this. Get this Iron Maiden right here to run at us. Nice, got good luck there. There's a few different attacks he can do. That's the one we want to see in order to be able to run past him and get this crate out of the way. Got kind of lucky there. And then I'm going to be showing off yet another glitch I actually don't think was in the SU run I did a few years back. This is an interesting kind of exploit of Ashley, what she does, how she reacts to us. So right now I'm actually holding down the right trigger button, which is your shoot button. Ashley thinks we're holding a knife at her as long as we have that button held down, and she's just staying in that one little spot until we let go. As you see, she's going to jump down right now and cause all these enemies to spawn. For whatever reason though, these enemies, I'm in a bad spot, so a couple of them still saw me, which is perfectly fine, but they don't react to Ashley, they only react to Leon. So normally what you'd have to do in this room is you have to use a bunch of flash grenades to keep these guys stationary while you're waiting for this lever to reset, but by using that kind of neat little glitch, you're able to just go ahead and just wait it out without having to expend any more resources and get through. So kind of a cool little exploit that a lot of people don't know about. With that, if there are any donations, you can go right ahead, good sir.
Absolutely. Barry Burton donated $20. Probably reminds him, a lot of his previous life from watching this game.
Yeah.
And he says, JTB, here's a donation. It might come in handy if you, the master of speed running, take it with you.
Thanks, man.
And go ahead.
About to say, I gotta get through that area pretty fast, or I'll get made into a Leon
Leave it to
sandwich.
me, Leon.
Oh, there's a sandwich in this game too?
I'm sure there's a sandwich somewhere. Maybe in one, maybe like a rotten one in the village. Maybe not very healthy. I wouldn't recommend, chewing on one of them, but maybe let's add in a donation sandwich. If we get $1 million before the end of this run, I'll go look for a sandwich in the village for you guys. So we have like 20 minutes left. I'm sure we can make it happen.
We're only we're very close to the goal actually. We're only missing $900,000.
Okay. I have faith in you guys. Another kind of a boring segment. This is the auto scroller that unfortunately we can skip. We can point at the ridiculousness of Ashley driving this truck or whatever it is. But all this is just really keeping enemies off, the truck. Using the striker ammo that we've been, or shotgun ammo we've been accumulating, throughout the run. Shooting down these trucks that just come out of nowhere, as well. So pretty kind of just a laid back section. So if there are, any more donations or just anything, definitely go right ahead. Oh, go ahead. Go right ahead.
We have Tired But Awake that donated $10 and says, you said we shouldn't leave for any reason, but it's 3:30 a.m. and I'm exhausted, but he's still watching the stream.
Well, thank you for being here.
I'm leaving it
Thank
to
you for everyone that's actually up at this hour watching this run. No, definitely it's a little bit later at night, but it's very much appreciated for you guys to be able to support such a great cause as well. So what may have looked like just randomly running, past enemies there was actually anything but. I have to make sure to run past enemies either on the right or the left, depending on what they are, to ensure they're not going to just suddenly attack me as I run past them. Like I said, lots of tiny little things that you don't notice in the run until you actually run the game itself. So it's kind of cool that there I actually didn't run into any trouble, because there's a good chance sometimes I get grabbed. Just kind of go through it without thinking. I pay for it dearly. I'm gonna let these guys jump up just because the truck's gonna stop in a second. Usually you can keep them off the truck by being at the edge of it, because for whatever reason they just want to attack beyond us by being right next to them. But if the truck's not moving, then we'll just jump on. It's better just go ahead and shoot them out of the way. So I'm hoping here we don't get any of these cloggers, which we probably are. Yep, there's one. The reason for that is we're going to have this cutscene coming up in which we don't have any control over Leon. Oh no. I think we're okay. Okay, good. That was a little bit tense. So this cutscene that I'm in right now, if one of those Plaga's enemies don't die, they like to run up to Leon, just kill him as the game is fading to black to go to this area. I've had a few runs die to that, and it's one of those things that if you get hit by that, you never want it to happen again, and it's just always going to be on your mind. Got a little bit scared there because I spent too much time just trying to stop that guy, and not enough time to shoot that truck, and I was a little bit worried that I didn't have the TV ammo for it, but fortunately I did reload earlier on. So like I said, just throwing out some saves. This game, despite it being super great, it does have a little bit of a tendency to crash at certain parts. I want to avoid that as much as I can, especially for the next chapter. Let's get rid of this ammo. Don't need this at all. No. Please, please. Okay, we did it. Speed tech right there. But now we're in chapter 5.3. This is my favorite chapter of the game. It has one of my favorite boss fights. If you know what boss fight it is, I'm just going to let you know I don't have anything planned for it, so I apologize in advance. But we're going to kick off this chapter with this unskippable QTE cutscene boss fight, lore, whatever you want to call it. Pretty much we got this knife fight that's going to happen between us and... Well, I'll let Leon do the honors.
Been a long time, comrade.
Krauser.
I died in a crash 2 years ago. Is that what they told
Alright,
you?
so for those of you who do know what's coming up, if you have
You got jumped
Franker
quick,
Face
as
Z
expected.
installed,
After all, you and
there's
I
gonna
both
be
know where we come from.
this emote from my channel called America Bag. You're gonna know when you need to be spamming that emote in chat. So when I go back and watch this VOD, I better see an entire chat filled with that, or I'm gonna be sorely disappointed.
Leave Ashley out of this.
Oh, I needed her to buy Sadler's trust in me. Like you, I'm American.
This is your moment to shine, chat. Don't let me down.
You got her involved just for that?
You will not be disappointed.
Alright, cool. I knew I could count on you guys. Everyone who's from my channel anyways already knows about that. So fun little thing about, I didn't really ever mention this throughout the run. There's only 2 possible QTEs that you can get. Left trigger and right trigger, or X and A. You're never going to get anything different. And for the Steam version, you could literally just spam them both at the same time. So no matter which one you get, you're always going to get the QTE. Something you actually cannot do in the GameCube version because inputs are read a little bit slower. So if you end up trying to do that on GameCube, you're just going to go ahead and get yourself killed during this fight. And Krauser, please, this is no language like that. This is a family-friendly stream. But yeah, GameCube version, this fight, or QT, whatever you want to call it, could actually be a run killer, you know, if you don't find out some way to, you know, get those inputs in before he hits you.
You knew each other?
More or less.
Krauser hitting us with the hot lore that Umbrella is involved in this. Kind of a huge plot twist for, you know, the game at the time because, you know, Umbrella was gone. With the events of Raccoon City. So now you kind of hear, oh, Umbrella, Wesker. But, you know, now we have Resident Evil 5. I don't think there's a Resident Evil 6. Actually, just went straight to Resident Evil 7, which we're all knowing Umbrella is part of. So, but at the time, was a pretty big spoiler. Also, you may recognize this part from the Resident Evil movie. Don't know why lasers in this game. You know, Leon suddenly acting like Neo, running off walls, doing backflips. Didn't know they taught you that, you know, in the Secret Service, but like I said, Resident Evil physics. Alright, now we're coming up on the first boss of this chapter, and that's, you heard me right, first boss. There are a couple bosses in this chapter. This is like the boss rush chapter for you guys. Because they come at you fast and they come at you hard. First guy we're going to have is called a U3. Some people refer to him as in the game. Pretty big, scary guy. This is kind of a scripted part. We can do damage to him in order to get him to jump in the ceiling, or he can just do it randomly as well, which is what we want to see. We don't want him to try to attack us and interrupt our damage that we have going. But any damage that we do right now to him is not going to matter, because once we get to the next phase, that's when we'll actually be able to kill him. So I shoot him right there to actually force him into the ceiling. That's kind of the opportune moment to do it, because you have to shoot one of those lights anyways. Pretty clean part. Oh, that's not good. Did some damage. That's why I picked up two grenades. I didn't get close enough. There we go. So you can go ahead and throw that that grenade through the door. If you're standing right up on it, it kind of takes away having. Oh, hello. That's not good. Oh, I turned around there. It takes away having to run through this and backtrack over to the other side. But regardless, let's go ahead and kill this dude. So let's send rocket launchers. This guy is a little bit too tough though, so we gotta throw in 2 knives for good measure to actually fill him off, to finish him off. And like with all these bosses, take their lunch money. That's a bit of a bully. Just use rocket launchers to intimidate enemies. Takes their money and buys more rocket launchers. We're coming up on the merchant up here. We're going to do our final inventory change. Not a huge change, actually. Just going to be pretty much picking up a rocket launcher as well as a magnum, which we're going to use for a couple of fights. Start equipping this handgun instead of this TMP. So while I'm doing this, if there's any other donations, definitely go at it.
Welcome. Got some rare things on. What are you selling? What are you buying? Thank you. Come back anytime.
Alright, so we got the Killer 7 there, which is... It actually is not the strongest Magnum when it's fully upgraded, but at its base power it is. We don't upgrade any weapons, doesn't take any time, it's not even necessary in this run, so we picked that one up at the end. Gonna be using it for a few different fights, including this one, which is a Krauser version 2. Why I changed weapons there. This is the actual fight with him, no more QTE scripted nonsense. This is a straight up man versus man. Alright, go ahead and mess up this QTE because I was standing in the wrong spot. This is our fight to use the knife on quite a lot. So for whatever reason, Krauser is very weak to the knife, and we abuse that quite heavily throughout this. I go ahead and reload the checkpoint there to get him to come behind me. Otherwise, he can show up right there and do an attack that almost guaranteed to hit me. So rather than just going ahead and taking the L right there, I'll just go ahead and reload the checkpoint to avoid it altogether. Oh man, it's way too slow on that. What I should have done there was, that works too. What I should have done there was have the Killer 7 already equipped, shot him quickly in the face, and stepped backwards. So he tried to charge me and then shoot him again. It's kind of a really precise trick because the window for shooting him before he jumps up is really small. Also, shoutouts to going straight through the statue. Another effect of the dimment glitch, pushing the statue faster than the statue is actually getting pushed. Coming up on the third section too, but before we do that, I'm gonna find some new enemies of the game. These little robot dudes. Hope you enjoyed seeing them because this is the last time we'll see them in this game.
What is it that you fight
So
for, comrade?
literally those designs created only for this 5-second portion that we're gonna run through. Kind of a shame. It would be really cool to have seen them in like other parts of the game because they have some interesting mechanics to them. But the game's already been out for a long time. All right, and we come on the final portion of Krauser. This is the one, like I said, that we really abuse the knife. So first we're gonna get him to do this like double backflip into the corner, and then we're gonna die once. To show that, you know, Krauser really does mean business, you know, when you mess up these fights. So we're going to go ahead and pick up this item, and then we're going to get him to do a double backflip into the corner.
Prepare for your death, Leon.
I already did that. Alright, I'll keep him staggered in this corner. Fortunately, the first time I missed the knife, so he was able to attack me. And he is dead, so shoutouts to Knife being completely OP in this fight and just keeping him staggered, turning, you know, another one of those kind of hard bullet sponge, you know, fights in a small area into just a relatively simple one. Unfortunately, I did take that death, you know, but wasn't fully prepared for it, but it's one of my favorite things to do throughout this run. Just kind of looks cool. We are heading into chapter 5-4. So you might have remembered at the start of this chapter I said, you know, this chapter is all about your execution and there's no luck involved with it with one small exception. This is your one small exception. This is the military war zone. Call it whatever you want. This is an area that we call many things that are probably not appropriate for the stream because it's literally just a million enemies shooting everything they can at you when you try to run through this area without taking damage. You can have crossbows being shot at you, rockets, you can have this minigun. To put it plainly, it's really hard. And then having it so close to the end of the game too, it's very easy to lose a ton of time on this chapter, solely because enemies just really don't want to let you pass through. I don't have an extra, so I forgot to pick one up, so it's not good here. Hopefully I don't get hit when I jump down here. I think it should be okay. Nope, of course. Why'd I say anything? I'll run around a little bit. Alright, got through. Don't really have a grenade there to throw down the bottom and hit all three of them. didn't there. But now we'll move on to the second part of this military war zone. We got these miniguns that are shooting at us, and we can't go too fast here. So first that guy will hit you. See, we're quickly running out of heals. Please don't hit me. And use some of these incendiaries to take out this minigun, so we can try to run a little bit freely through this area. This guy we're going to take out. Oh, we're not. We're over there. Shoot this guy a little bit slow. So you get this guy in the background. We got our helicopter friend up there called Mike. Kind of a cool guy. But Mike kind of does what he wants to. You know, such as shooting the tower that we just passed. We especially want him to shoot the tower that we're at right now, because if he does so, he creates an opening that we could jump down instead of having to run all the way around. So kind of another, you know, RNG factor to this chapter. Lose you a little bit of time just because the game said so. Please don't crash. Please don't crash. Okay. That door right there, that's the door that just likes to crash the game for whatever reason. You know, you're coming out of your menu too fast and you try to use that door, there's a crash. You're running in Ditman speed, there's a crash. You're on PB pace, you know, plus 5 minutes, you're gonna set an unstoppable world record, here's a crash. So that was the main reason why I wanted to save at the start of that chapter, to avoid that crash there. That's kind of fortunate it didn't happen.
Gonna take just a small moment to say that Carlton Robinson donated $5 with no message, but that also means that we are only $17 away from $13,100. So keep these donations coming in.
You can do it, guys. We have enough time. Remember, we gotta hit that million. We have like less than 5 minutes left. Alright, so this is the second part of 5-4. It's a little bit crazy to deal with. We have a couple enemy, or one enemy in particular that we need to kill that we're gonna not kill because I missed a shot. So we're gonna go ahead and reload so it's in a better spot. So we need to kill that guy with the red cap specifically to get this key card. But at the same time, I need to dodge this guy. I'm gonna shoot that barrel. Pick up this flash grenade just in case there's someone right here. I can run past him fast enough. Oh my goodness! Of course I get hit. I'm not surprised. All right, here we're gonna put this flash grenade. Use this key card. This is one of those areas that it's just all about getting through as fast as you can to make sure enemies are not going to catch up to you. One of the hardest parts of this section, but literally once this part is done, your run is over because there's nothing else that can cause you any problems. With that, looking at our time, I believe we'll get our SP too, so thank goodness on that. Despite having kind of a rough water haul early on, cause you lose just a lot of time. My PB itself is like a 1:34.07, so it's a little bit faster than this. But we are getting to the end of the run, so I just want to, you know, as we're wrapping this up, kind of thank you guys for you know, watching. You know, everyone who donated the run as well. Greatly appreciate it. Definitely want to thank Calithon for having me here. I love this venue. I love this atmosphere. So definitely, if I have a chance to return in the future, I'll be doing so. And shout outs also to the RE4 community, which I'm sure are all up right now at the most unreasonable hours to watch this, so you guys are great. So this is the final boss, Cellar. Really big joke of the boss. All you have to do is shoot those 2 eyeballs. One eyeball to get him to a stagger spot, and then shoot his main weak point. Hit one with a rocket launcher, and then we can get this, you know, the standard rocket launcher that you get with at the end of every Resident Evil game to finish him off. So we are coming up at the end of this, but this run is not just done yet. We have the most important glitch of the run. If you don't do this glitch, really your run is essentially invalidated. Like your run, you should just reset the run if you don't do this glitch because it's not even worth it. So we talked about how the Ditman glitch works and how it likes to do animations a lot faster. Like not going into a menu. So we're kind of sick with Ashley. So we're gonna go ahead and just gonna take off without her, hit her with the bye Felicia, and finish off this run. And you can see Leon's still moving a little bit faster than the jet ski is going too, as you can tell right there as we completely clip through the jet ski and Ashley herself. Unfortunately, the cutscene there just resets it back, but fun little visual glitch. There's no reason not to do it unless you're about to set like a world record or whatever, but it's fun to look at, it's fun to do, it's easy to do.
It's because he's a real police dude.
He is a real police dude, and with that we have time. So yeah, that was Resident Evil 4 for you guys. New game professional. That was a run. And we got underestimated too by 20 seconds despite some of the resets, so that's even better. But you know, with that, thanks for watching. Thanks for all the donations. Hope you all keep enjoying Calithon and have a good rest of your night.
And again, is that you?
Finally,
And thank you everyone for watching this incredible Resident Evil run. That was extremely entertaining. Thank you JTB for your run. Thank you all for watching. Next game is going to be Risk of Rain in a few minutes. We are setting up and it will be run by Skazef or Skazef or Skazef or I don't know how to pronounce his name. He will pronounce it himself.